Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to the show today. I have with me Dave and Barry Fisher, owners of Ace Aluminum, which is a second and third generation business of roofing, I think remodeling, and various aspects of construction. So guys, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. We're glad to have you. Let's start off with, I want you to tell me about your business and then the types of customers you help. And I think, Barry, you started in this with your father and kind of continue it on. So would you tell a little bit about that and then the types of customers you help?
Sure. We started out in central New Jersey. It was basically a rural area, mostly chicken farms. And we started out by remodeling, doing small remodeling jobs, doing one window here, one window there. And over the years, the reputation grew. We're actually, right now, we're serving third generation. We're serving the grandchildren of my father's first customers. So our reputation is we're mostly on recommendation. Most of our business is referral and satisfied customers going out on service and handling things. And we've gone back to what we did in 1953. Again, the roofing, the siding, the windows. We now do remodeling totally, kitchens, bathrooms, basements, decks, fabric awnings, just about everything in home improvements and home remodeling. And that's why we also go under the name of Ace Home Improvements.
Okay. Dave, do you have anything to add to that?
He pretty much summed it up. We basically help all types of customers, anybody that really has a home. We do mostly residential. We don't really get too involved in commercial.
Okay, very good. Now, Barry, go into a little bit more on how you got started in this field. And Dave, I want to hear your take on you as well.
Sure. I worked for my father. I worked in the shop, at the company shop in Freehold, New Jersey. I manufactured aluminum awnings, screen porches. I worked as an installer. I would make them and then install them. And then eventually I decided I wanted to be a salesman. So I did that for a good number of years and eventually became a partner with my brother-in-laws when my father retired. And the business grew again. The business right now is growing by leaps and bounds because of my son, David. David was with American Express. He was a CPA. And, again, he brought all of his knowledge into the business, which then the business started to grow again. But what kept us alive for all of these years, for these over 62 years, is service. We will go out, we will take care of one panel of siding or one roof shingle, just as fast as we would take care of a whole house of siding and windows.
Okay, now when you said salesman, you went in sales. Was that in the same company?
Yes. I've been doing this since I was 9 years old. One company, except for a brief stench.
This is his only job.
This was it. I was in the Army for a short time as a reservist, and the rest of the time was Ace Home Improvements.
Well, that's impressive. A lot of people have several jobs during their lifetime, but you've only really had this one.
That's it. This is it.
That's neat. Okay, well, Dave, tell us how you got started into it.
Background. I mean, I grew up on the business ever since I was a kid. I used to work in the shop doing some screen repairs, and then I worked in a couple warehouses for some suppliers and distributors just to get to know some of the, material end. And I went out with some installers, during high school and college years. So I did go away to college. I went to University of Maryland. I was a business major. I studied accounting. And then I did do accounting for 5 years in New York City. I got my CPA license. So I got a strong background in business and accounting. And then after 5 years of doing that in 2000, I came into the family business and partnered up with my father. So I've been doing this for about 15 years now, where it's just been me and my father.
15 years, wow. Now, when you came in from being a CPA, what did you start doing?
I started doing a lot of sales. I still need to learn the business, but I took over a lot of the accounting and the books and the sales and the pricing and, kind of reviewing all the bills and dealing with the contractors and, kind of running the day-to-day operations of the business.
Okay. Well, being a CPA, you have to be pretty detail-oriented, and you did some sales. Was that a hard shift for you?
I was very good at the adding machine, I'll tell you that much. I can definitely add numbers without looking at the adding machine. So, no, it was a good fit, actually, because in this business, you really need to know all the numbers. You need to know the costs, the profit margins, the expenses. In order to really run a successful business, you have to keep all the numbers in line, and I think that's where a lot of contractors fail, is they spend too much money, or their expenses are too high, their profits are too low, and you really need to have a good background in numbers to run a successful remodeling business.
Okay. Well, that's an interesting background. Thank you for sharing all that. One of the questions I wanted to ask you is, now you're taking care of homes, not so much commercial. And what we're on the topic of more than anything right now is roofing. But first of all, as far as roofing goes, you are a preferred contractor with Owens Corning, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now describe a little bit what it takes to be a preferred contractor, because you can't just hang out a shingle, no pun intended, and be a preferred contractor, right?
Correct. I mean, they definitely look at your business. They look at you have to be properly insured. You have to be in business for a certain amount of years. You have to do a certain amount of roofing. They definitely check out, all your ratings, because you don't want to, they don't want to get into business with any contractor that does shabby work, because then it's going to bite, Owens Corning in the butt. If, you have a certified Owens Corning roofer that goes out and does bad workmanship, they're going to get a lot of complaints and stuff like that. So they definitely are very particular on who they choose to partner up with in terms of roofing.
Okay, good. Now, homes are getting affected over time by the elements. So, except for the extremely obvious, which you probably need to mention anyway, tell me about the importance of keeping your roofing in good shape.
Well, I mean, it's extremely important of keeping your roof in good shape. If you let your roof go too long, you're going to wind up with rotted plywood, with leaks into your house. There's going to be drywall damage, mold issues. It's very important to keep the attic properly vented. Air is very important inside the attic. The roof is probably one of the most important things on the house. That keeps everything else dry.
In the long run, it's cheaper to make sure that the roof does not leak, and replace the roof as it starts in the wear. You can do it. Most roof contractors, like us, that have been in business for so many years, we'll go out and we'll do a roof inspection. We can tell, the condition of the roof, if the boots are ready to leak and starting to crack, and we can do a free roof inspection, and then tell them how long the roof has, how many years the roof will last.
You don't want to wait too long on a roof. It's not something that you want to put off, because you can cause more damage the longer you wait. You can cause leaks, and then it just does damage and mold, and then you wind up having to replace rafters and plywood, and it can snowball from there. So you want to be on top of it.
Okay, what's one of the worst cases you've seen a roof leaking? What had to happen after that for a homeowner? If the
roof is not properly ventilated and is in bad shape, we've actually had to replace all the plywood on a roof, and that's not fun for anybody, especially the homeowner, because that gets very costly. You got to rip off all the plywood. You got to put all new plywood down, and then you got to properly ventilate the attic so that it doesn't happen again.
Okay. Did you ever get any extreme flooding from a bad roof?
Yeah, we've definitely had some bad leaks in roofs, sure. and then that goes down to it starts leaking in the ceiling, through like the high hats. Water's interesting. It always finds its way in, and then you got to trace it back. So it will find its way in to like the lowest point, and then you got to like trace it back and find out exactly where it's coming from. But sure, you get some heavy rains, you get some skylights that are, past the useful life. They'll always leak, and you really got to find out where the leak is, and you got to take care of it ASAP.
Pardon the pun, but you really have to stay on top of it.
That's a good pun. Okay, well, listen, what is the most common obstacle that homeowners face with finding a reputable roofer?
I mean, I would say the obstacle is that they don't show up, they don't return phone calls, they don't do quality work, they make shortcuts when they do the roof, they don't use quality materials. It's hard to find a reputable roofer these days. I would definitely recommend checking out the Better Business Bureau, doing research, getting referrals.
My father used to say two things to me. When you buy something, know the company or know the product. And the bottom line is the referrals. See the signs in the area. Speak to people who've been satisfied, and word of mouth is how a company grows. So that's one way to find a good roofer.
Okay. Well, let's say that somebody was in need of a roofer and they didn't even know you existed, and they got Joe Schmo down the road. What are the top 3 to 4 things you would tell them to do to make sure they're getting a good roofer?
The Better Business Bureau would be one, to see if there are complaints that were not satisfied. The second thing would be, I wouldn't necessarily go on the internet because, that could go both ways. But I would go by referrals. Normally a company that's been around for a number of years has several customers that are satisfied. And just by speaking to people in general, going out for dinner and saying, gee, do you ever have your roof done? Who did it? You'll find that a lot of people will recommend more or less the same company. And again, that's how our business grew. For 63 years, people have been recommending us.
Okay, very good. Well, to wrap this up, let me ask you, what is the one thing that a homeowner should consider to successfully protect their home from the damages of water?
Roof inspection periodically is definite. The life expectancy, if you bought a 25-year roof, don't wait for 25 years. Start checking it out year 18 or 19. See the condition. The roof starts curling on the ends. You may want to consider. Now, also, if the roof has one roof, you can do a roof over. If a roof has two roofs, you either look for the cheap way is you just replace one roof, the top roof, and leave the bottom roof. That's not the better way to do it. The best way is to remove both roofs and check the plywood underneath.
Okay. And most homeowners are not going to know that kind of thing. So,
if you have two roofs, we always rip off both roofs, and you go down to the original plywood. Then you inspect the plywood, make sure it's in good shape. If it is rotted, you replace any rotted pieces. You get all new paper. You do ice and water shield around the perimeter to prevent any kind of ice damming. And then you properly vent the new roof and make sure everything is properly sealed.
Okay, so out where you have ice damming problems quite a bit, I take it.
Yeah, we're in central New Jersey, so we do get a decent amount of snow, ice.
This is the ice damming capital of the world right here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, I thank you for your time. And the last question I want to ask you is how homeowners can learn more about your company.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do, they can go to our website. It's www.acehomeimprovements.nj.com, or they can definitely come visit us if they're in the area. We're in Manalapan, New Jersey. We have a 10,000 square foot office, showroom, warehouse right on Route 9 in Manalapan. Or they can call us at 732-617-4070.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you for your time. That was really interesting. And I appreciate all the information you gave.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.